As you can see now, we're going to hop right back over towards the Rise Nation. Fire and Ice production has bullied both Landon and I.
Yeah, it's all right.
We're going to go back to the match we started with. Of course, there was such a
Of course, as soon as we leave, Hive's going to make a massive comeback.
Right, it's going to be eight straight on the other end, of
exactly.
course. But no, we saw, of course, an incredible map number 1 between Fire and Ice and Rise Nation. It only makes sense that we jump back over to that matchup to show you guys if Fire and Ice can make that comeback, send this to a map 3. So far, Rise Nation are starting off in control on District. It looks like the second round is beginning to go in their favor as well. You're going to see Inzem, player who's just so good at this initial Landon, finally get shaken out by 2 members. And to me, that right there was a little bit of an example, I would say, that new shotgun, because it looked like he hit was a pretty good kind of close-range spread, but it wasn't enough.
Unfortunate enough in that situation. Fire and Ice making some progress. Obviously, they've already got B locked in, and now they're starting to get a little bit too close for comfort, as they will manage to file out the rest of the Rise Nation players from their base. Having a few words to say when it comes down to Cinema. But in the meantime, it's about that stalemate. Where's the push coming from? If you're Rise, where do you start to allocate your members? Is it on the overextension? Is it a matter of pushing over at B? And based off where those arrows are looking at, it looks as if the OE opportunity is in and ready to go. Raver instantly has to back up. The Lancer fire is nice, and he actually does get tagged enough to where Choche also falls as well. That is a big 2 picks, and Inzem will make him pay for it. B-God rushes in. He'll find a frag, but he'll be taken down shortly after. Fire and Ice, they invest 3 players, and they lose every single one of them. A great OE opportunity for Rise, and now they are beginning to force the attention over at Cinema.
Yeah, now they're getting on B as well. All 3 hills in Rise Nation's favor. Exploits knows he has no choice but to hop over.
So made it to C?
But it looks like someone made it to C at the last seconds. Maybe some good communication coming through. Rise, though, do take as an opportunity now to get 3 down. Of course, we're still on pretty long spawns, so an opportunity if they want to move forward. They have the information, right? They have the mark. They know B-God is basically pinned all the way back, and they're continuing to push towards C. That's going to be Choche falling to the hands of Inzem.
Collapse.
Crystallized coming through. B-God's going to get 1. He's going to be traded out. 4v3 advantage now in favor of Rise Nation. They're hitting the hill from all angles. Crystallized is about to start getting hit by that new poke damage. He gets finally down. The trip cap does come through. Domination after 2 minutes. Rise Nation continuing forward on their map pick, bringing this to a 2-0.
That's unfortunate if you're F&I. I mean, you look at the scores, the elimination totals, it really is Rise Nation absolutely in the driver's seat. No one really stepping up for Fire and Ice in terms of that kind of leadership slaying role, but it's hard to, based on the way that the first round ended, because of course we didn't get to watch that, but as well based off of how this entire round went for the boys on Rise. And I feel like if you're Fire and Ice, this has got to be a sequence where you really put your foot down, you really struggled when it came down to that first half of Asylum, which was game number 1, in fact. So, all things considered, F&I looking to bring it back around. That starts to get pretty scary if they drop this. Inzem off the break, utility flashes, ready to go. Raver countered, but still wins the fight regardless. Loses a few teammates in the meantime, but it's all for naught. Dodges the knife and still is making some crafty work happen here at Bandstand. A great moment for him just to try and stay alive for as long as possible. Now the engagement with the shock. He'll walk away with it. And Detox trying to back up a little bit. Maybe not all that interested in fighting with the young gun on his terms. And Raver, he's ready for the engagement. Can he take it? This is the secondary shot. Dodging bullets. And with some teammates' support from Crystallized, Raver will walk away with the 1 versus 2. Props to him. He's already on some pressure with the overextension. And if you're Rise and you start to lose a few more players at B, this could start to get a little bit troublesome.
I feel like Raver was full red there for like 45 straight seconds. Just seemed like he continued to kind of dodge, stay alive, end up cleaning the kill up. So good job by him, preserving that life. Helping Fire and Ice move forward. They have a bit of a lead. They're now securing that 2 cap. But now, yeah, Raver finds himself, we're just giving him praise, finds himself somehow stuck between upwards of 3 different members of Rise Nation as they start to move forward, looking to get onto that A hill. You're going to see player number 7. That's going to be Shock, making his way towards that hill, starting to get that decap, and the fight is now kind of underway over towards the home hills and over towards Bandstand. You're going to see Exploits decide to back out. He knows he's a little bit outmatched. That's not going to stop Rise Nation. They're going to continue to get aggressive. They're going to continue to move forward. They know he's out of position. They're going to force him all the way back.
For me, at least, it's kind of surprising that the way that this map plays is that we don't see more OEs off the start. Like, I know that we do get to watch, you know, what is it, like a typical 3 versus 3 in bandstand. You have one player normally in middle and then kind of a 1v1 over at B, at least in terms of the first half. I am kind of surprised that we just don't see a full 5 group just rush into bandstand and kind of instantly go for the overextension based on how close the hills play with one another. And I feel like off of that, we've seen so many teams attempt it, it works out. And then based off if you have man count advantage, then you just send one up toward B. I don't know. It just, for me, it just seems like a situation where teams are attempting at it and seeing success so often that it's just odd that it hasn't been replicated. Obviously, that's just based off of my own intuition, but still yet, good work from Rise to at least supply some pressure. The 1v1, however, as the King will succeed. And very well commentated there from Choche, giving a little bit of commentary there. It looks as if a lot of hills currently in limbo.
Yeah, that was a very interesting push. Rise kind of did a little bit of a split push. Sent a few members over towards the home hill, sent a few over towards the neutral hill. Inzem wins that 1v1. Things change quite a bit, but Choche continues to hold down B. You see Raver hopping on the home hill as well. Choche hitting what looked like a bit of a point blank Vexies. Unfortunately makes him pay for that one. Yeah, Fire and Ice now, they're on A and C. They're at the 200-point mark. You're going to see Inzem, Shock, Drix, everyone in between choosing not to spawn back in, not making those same mistakes they did make in Asylum when it came to the respawn economy. Fire and Ice putting themselves now on the board. A very, very long-winded round, 3 minutes and 11 seconds. Trying to put themselves in a little bit less of a hole, I would say, than they did on Asylum. I mean, that was, they had brought it all the way back, but man, when you get put in that 4-1 hole, it's just so, so difficult.
Absolutely. Just to give a few updates, just in terms of the way that the tournament is going. Of course, like I said, you guys can, throughout the broadcast, feel free to put exclamation point bracket in the chat. However, I believe one match is already completed. It was Reciprocity who took down Carnage in a hot 2-0. And in terms of the other game that we were obviously covering, it is currently Pittsburgh Knights up 4-0 versus Hive. So continuing with that slang pressure on training grounds. It looks as if the LATAM squad possibly could go a perfect 5-0-5-0 versus Hive. The team that, I'll be honest, hasn't looked amazing consistently at Emergence days, but a roster that you expect to be putting up better numbers than a straight 5-0-5-0, or if not 5-1, obviously they can make a comeback, but if it were to end in a 10-0 scoreline, I just feel like that's not common for them.
And it looks like, look at the other screen, they got one round on the board finally.
There we go.
So now it's a 4-1 on training ground, so not the 10-0. But yeah, no, again, when it comes to Hive, I mean, they just seem a bit inconsistent online. Of course, they made that great run at the event, looking to come into their own, and some weeks we do see that out of them. And other weeks we just see a completely different team. So, again, it's a young group of guys, and again, they still have a lot to learn. So some of that stuff does come with time. As we head into this 4th round, Rise Nation starting off strong on the initial, getting a couple early kills, heading over towards the Fire and Ice home hill. Fire and Ice, playing some good defense. They do manage to preserve C. So Rise Nation will start with the 2-cap. A good opportunity now for Fire and Ice to push forward. They got a couple kills on the home hill, but Vexies very, very quickly trying to even out those numbers. Choche gets the break, but he knows he can't get that full cap with that Lancer staring him down.
A lot of fire still to come. Vexies trying to stay up as Rise making attempts actually at both hills. Keeping that in mind, they do manage to flurry on into B. In the meantime, they're also contesting for C as well. Vexies takes down Drix, rather unfortunate. Bodies everywhere, and if you're Rise Nation, that is an unfortunate fight to lose because you had an opportunity to actually control both sides of the map there. They go 1 for 1, they take over B, but like we said, that quick little jaunt from the home hills allows for Fire and Ice to toy with Rise. Quick little decap, Rise now back in the swing of things, but this is F&I taking advantage. They actually dropped 2 in a row. That's going to be a situation in which Rise, they have to contend for C. They're pretty much outside of their base, and they have to pretty much just stand true for as long as possible until their friends spawn up and get here. But Ryan, if they were to drop here soon, that could be a constant situation in which Rise is going down in player count and could start to get forced back to their base again.
Yeah, I think they made that play to basically stop Fire and Ice from pushing forward. Fire and Ice got a couple kills, so by Rise pushing actually for their home hill, it forces them to keep their resources kind of back on that side of the map still and not moving forward to the Rise Nation home hill. You're going to see Fire and Ice now just taking that lead, but that could have been a lot worse if those two players didn't make that play up towards that C hill. They could have very well been up on the Rise home hill for all we know. So, while looking at a bit of a reckless play, there actually was a little bit of method to the madness there. It kind of forced Fire and Ice to put some resources back towards the side of the map, give them time to respawn back in. We are in quick spawn, of course, as we end this first half. So Rise, they still got plenty of time left to finish this off.
We've seen Shock do some great work. Unfortunately, he'll be taken down. Fight still consisting over at Cinema. Detox falling as well. Lots of players dropped as Fire and Ice look to continue to try and rally as they're down in terms of this game. If Xyz tries to make a play, he'll be taken down. Possible domination moment. Obviously, Fire and Ice, they're going to be able to get toward B. But in the meantime, one player drops. That's actually player number 2, Exploits. He'll fall. Thankfully, for King Choche, he's still up and swinging. He went to try to go for the revive, and he does have some teammate support. However, Choche drops. The revive is through, so 2 are up for Fire and Ice now. Here comes the majority of the fight. Lots of players on 0 respawns as Choche officially wiped out of this game. Time starting to tick away, and just in the meantime, it will be Fire and Ice who does reclaim control over at B. A big 1v1 happening toward the bottom side of the map. If you're Fire and Ice, you want to try to walk away with it, and it looks as if that's not going to be the case. Some love there at the end for Enzem, as that will be a first half finish for Rise Nation as they go up 3 rounds to 1.
Big play by them, taking back control of that B hill at the right time. You saw FNI get on B, get the neutral, and actually start to kind of take a little bit of a time lead at like the 220, 225 mark. So it looked like it was a great play on the objective. Rise Nation one-up them. They bullied them right off the B hill, got that quick cap, even got the kill on the kid trying to break. So good job by them holding that down, getting that time lead back at the very, very right time, extending now a 3-1 lead. We've seen them put Fire and Ice in a hole in the past, right? They let Fire and Ice in last time. You know they don't want to let him in twice. Let's see what FNI does. I imagine we're going to see a drop shot. We saw that last time we got in the situation. It was the 3-1 round where the drop shot was placed last time. Let's see if it can have the same effect that it did on Asylum.
That's a great point to bring up. And obviously, as the lives do cycle back up to 4, when it comes down to the life bank, see if Rise Nation, how well they allocate their lives. Can they not really struggle with going down in the respawns early? We'll have to find out, as that was the bane of their existence when it came down in game number 1. Bandstand fights partaking through of Xyz. Actually just dodged Raver. The knife hits off of the walls, and he'll be taken down for it. If you're Raver, you'll take that every single time, considering the fact that now you put Enzem in a situation in which he finds himself in a pinch. He has to rush through and exploits. Quick little emote for good measure. Says, good attempt, but not good enough. As that will be Raver now transitioning back toward E. That'll be the first hill and control of Fire and Ice toward the later stages, as D was in fact wiped off. B-God will be now on that. In a good situation as the slate is cleared. Fire and Ice in the advantage.
Just now crossing over with that time lead to the neutral hill now in Fire and Ice's hands. You kind of see the defense coming through. You're going to see the boys in Rise Nation. They know there's just a wall built there. Players, but the down does come through. Can they get the full kill? This might be a situation where Raver kind of caught out of position there. The trade does come through, but you'd like to have that player in bandstand when you're holding down the neutral hill. That drop shot's going to do one better, though. We know just on any map how hard it is to hop one of those hills, and that weapon is staring you down. If you're a Rise Nation, you got to almost assuming you know where that drop shot is, you almost got to assume maybe it might just be too hard to go for that E hill. It's already a hard hill to begin with. You might want to just try to maybe go for a fake and then hit an OE something, because in the meantime, Fire and Ice are just continuing to build a lead, and they have the ultimate defensive weapon when it comes to holding the neutral down.
And that can allow for Rise Nation to maybe think more about the overextension rather than the push at E. Exploits clearly with the spotlight on him. And just based off of Fire and Ice's position, you can kind of tell this is how well this is how confident they are, right? They want to put Exploits in a position of which they're not going to be caught in the crossfire. Might be relying on Enzem to make the play. Oftentimes, I'm assuming the flashes are going to be out. Enzem's going to try to rush down and allow for Exploits to feel uncomfortable. There's the flash, and like I said, here's Enzem, joined alongside of Xyz. However, chaos ensuing. Both of them fall, and a lovely hold on defense coming through from FNI. 3 versus 1 onto Detox. The flashes from afar will only do so much damage, rather denying the inevitable. As the drop shot will come into somewhat good usage, a few shots extra from Exploits, but they'll get it done in the end. An opportunity for Rise Nation, but it will in fact be FNI who takes their second round and now bring it just within 1. That was a swing round there.
We've been here before, right? Of course, we saw Rise Nation come out to the same lead on Asylum. FNI puts the drop shot down, and it kind of changed the course of the map. Of course, we had a round 9 on Asylum. Crazy round 9, too, play after play. And then it was Rise Nation did come out on top. I know they don't want to be in that same position twice, right? I know they know they kind of squeaked out of that one.
That's for sure.
Let's see what they can do. Of course, shot grenades going to be placed on each side. Both teams putting some utility in the back end. The only real advantage, of course, is the fact that Rise does have a little utility on the side because Fire and Ice put the weapon down on the middle. So always a bit of a risk associated with putting down that weapon in the middle. It does put you a little bit behind when you are building weapons. But again, you know where that fight's going to ensue. You know that everything's going to go down over towards that middle side, and that drop shot of Vexies drills B-God off spawn. No one is there for the revive, so early advantage absolutely favoring Rise Nation. FNI does get that drop shot. Let's see what they can do with it. Of course, we saw some pretty long spawns, right? The second round of the second half. And a 4v3 advantage for Rise Nation again. I think Raver knows he just needs to get out with that drop shot and preserve that weapon at all cost.
He's going to hightail it out. Detox wants to try to be the aggressor. Unfortunately, he'll pay for that. In the meantime, it's actually Fire and Ice doing some great damage across the map as they'll drop 2, rather 3, as Inzem was taken down just shortly before that. But domination inbound. Can they make it to their own home hill in time as Choche's doing some great damage? The body block as Shock having some issues here. Rise might be able to funnel in as they will just in the nick of time. And there's the drop shot. A lot of damage done, and if you're Drix, it's pretty much done. This one is through. And back-to-back rounds, the drop shot ultimately being the deciding factor. And that's a big one for Fire and Ice to take. I really thought Rise had the resurgence, and I think they thought the same until that good old drop shot came and decided to destroy everybody, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, Raver made the heads-up play. He got out that weapon at all costs, and that weapon was a big part of why they were able to close that round out. We've been seeing Fire and Ice, honestly, for the most part, across the 2 maps, doing a pretty good job of getting a hold of that drop shot whenever it is placed.
And if you're Rise, I mean, based off of FNI's great play at just going for that instant, I mean, you kind of see that's their lifeline. Like, they are throwing everything at just making sure they have that drop shot. Do you think there's anything that they could do to better defend against the drop shot being effective, or any way that they can allow for themselves to be more competitive when it comes to grabbing it off the rib?
I mean, it's definitely hard. It's a hard weapon to defend. I mean, in terms of defending it, all you can really do is try to dodge it when someone has it. But in terms of the initial, that's a whole different story, right? I mean, these guys, they played Gears 4. They know how these fights work, right? You got to get in there. You got to have a player like Rushies, for example, who gets in on the other side of the map. Does such a good job of getting in there, making his presence known, and kind of commanding that spot. You got to always have that guy who kind of is almost bullying the spot away. And we're seeing on this round, Rise Nation doing a much better job early on. Crystallize is going to take one out, but he's going to end up being dropped. So Choche finds himself the last player on the map. Exploits will be off spawn. And to me, like I said, I've always kind of looked at it when it comes to those sort of singular drop shot fights. It just so many times the aggressor does come out on top, so you just have to kind of, you know, almost no respect it at times. And obviously, it comes down to good utility, good flashbangs, right? Putting yourselves in a position to be aggressive. But again, you can't play those fights scared. And I believe I see Drix showing some love to the King. I'm not sure if I want to do that right before Mexico City.
I don't think the King was having it. I think he was like, you know what? I'm tapping out. This one's over. Can't disrespect the King like that.
Especially before you head to his turf. I know if my guy Keem's in the chat. I know Keem liked the King's turf reference.
I like that. That's good.
Choche truly is the King of Mexico. I'm telling you.
Oh, I'm excited to see it.
You got to go there one day. You got to see it.
I think he needs to wear a crown whenever he goes to the event.
Right.
Would that be a little bit too much? I don't think so. I think it'd be perfect. I'd love to see it. Flashes in. Detox. Instantly feeling the pressure. Full red has to back away. The props for staying alive for as long as he has. Gets support fire from Inzem, and there you have it. Raver, B-God, both seeing the negative end of Rise Nation's newly found Nashers. As Shock will manage to make some presence happen toward the middle map, which will then force out Crystallize to be taken down. Good sequence for Rise Nation so far throughout the round, and the positives only continue to reign in as they now have control over the neutral.
You see Rise Nation have built just such a big lead. You got to wonder now, for Fire and Ice, is it worth continuing to throw bodies at? If you lose this retake, right, is it worth throwing it back in? They're already at about the 200-point mark. They got a couple hills. Give it one last push. Go for that one last wipe. And I mean, even if their push coming in so late, they might even have the opportunity for a second one.
Oh,
drop shot comes through. Yeah, it's a good way to start it. Next person has to make a big play. He's going to end up falling. This is going to surely be a Rise Nation round. But the last two members of Fire and Ice, they are over on the home hill. This could get interesting. If they can get this fight win, head over to the neutral, things could be changing. The kill feed all of a sudden landed just flipped on its head. Vexies using that power weapon to at least try to play some defense. Rise all of a sudden find themselves with one hill left and one hill to defend. Vexies hits quite a long lunge. Little Commando Pro action.
I like that.
He ends up falling though, and Rise, they just need to get on this one hill. If they get this cap, it is going to be over. So a good play by them, hitting that home hill at the end. I'll say I like the effort by Fire and Ice. That was a good last second push. They almost got it. The Rise Nation played the hills the correct way. They played the objectives. They didn't just continue to throw bodies at the neutral. Played the smart move, got their home hill back, finished the round.
I need to make sure that, whenever you mentioned Commando, I was like, I like that. I don't like it. I like the reference, not the actuality of the way that it worked, regardless. We'll see exactly how Rise Nation can intend on locking this one up, as we do see the disables coming through on the shock grenades, which definitely has played a part when it comes down to Bandstand. And how you aggress that fight, that was one of the main reasons as for why Fire and Ice struggled when it came down to that Bandstand position, as it pretty much has been the team that has controlled the drop shot has won the last 3 rounds. Fire and Ice walking away with the first 2, Rise Nation walking away with the last. And now we focus our attention there yet again. Flashes are out. 2 players sent toward Bandstand, at least off the rip. And Enzem, not an opportunity to actually be on the flank, now has the opportunity and actually takes down 2. It looked for a moment as if he was in the non-favorable position, when in reality he made sure that he was. Only alive for a moment, a 1v1 exploits versus Avexes. Who do you take? And who arguably wins the round? It could be decided here. Avexes, he'll get it done. Drop shot now in hand, and he will have team support, rather, to possibly stay alive. But I love that wraparound from Raver. Trying to pinch him out. They'll get the job done. Avexes continuing to fall. The pistol fire comes through. And just like that, no more drop shot for Rise.
It's a big play by Fire and Ice, getting rid of the power weapon. Avexes been a great play to get a hold of the weapon, but end up kind of getting caught off guard. 3 members of Fire and Ice got there quick. Shock wins one against Crystallized. Can he do it against B-God? He does get the 2-piece. Another big play from Shock. Starts to back off, wait for his teammates. Raver does get one before finally falling, and Shock continuing to make big plays for this team, keeping them in rounds. Of course, Rise Nation 1 round away from finishing this series off in 2-0 fashion. Exploits is just being absolutely drilled. As he pointed out, B-God now sitting on 0 out of 4 respawns. Last map, it was Rise Nation who kept finding themselves at that permanent numbers deficit. Now it could be Fire and Ice. You're going to see Raver and Exploit sitting on 1, Crystallized sitting on 1, B-God sitting on 0, and a pretty healthy respawn economy over for Rise Nation, all things considered. So they should have this time lead back momentarily. Of course, they have a little while longer to hold that 2 cap. You got to imagine one of Fire and Ice's pushes are coming soon, and if I'm for Rise Nation, I am searching for that Baird.
Absolutely have to. Raver just toward the side, find some damage, keep in mind up close. Avexes dealing with some pressure. He'll be taken down in limbo. Detox pretty much all from afar, crying out and hoping that he could have done some damage. However, not going to be able to make it happen as B-God, just before that fight, managed to partake, loses his final life of the round and possibly his final life of the tournament. A permanent 5v4 throughout the rest, and Raver's trying to make all the difference. He'll take a shot. Enzem will make him pay. And great work from FNI in the clutch in the bandstand. Maybe a different tune, but Avexes in Shock, they are making plays happen. Lovely damage toward the bottom side as they will control that area of the map. Exploits, maybe knowing what is to come. Only 15 more seconds needed for Rise Nation to lock this one up. I say 15 seconds. It's really just a few points. That's all it is. And Avexes having a show for the folks at home, locking up the LATAM roster as Rise Nation will win this series in a hot 2-0 and close out District in a solid 5-3.
Good job by Rise Nation moving forward. Again, we knew these 2 teams would be tough. 5-4, 5-3. Very good series against 2 very good teams. They kind of, again, find themselves in similar situations after San Diego made a big roster